Hello Varlets. Today we are going to learn how to effectively deal with one of the 4 main monsters in Darktide, the Plague Ogryn. Big, thick, and very clingy, the Plague Ogryn might sound like the perfect partner for some of you Varlets, but make no mistake, if you don't know how to handle it, you're gonna have one hell of a time surviving the higher difficulties. I'll show you a live example that happened during my Stealth Sniper build on how you can take on a Plague Ogryn by yourself without taking a single hit of damage at the end of this video. But before we learn how to deal with the Plague Ogryn, we first should learn more about it. Plague Ogryns are fast-moving, oversized, Nurgle-blessed Ogryns that have a real chunky health pool. Like all monsters, they are classified under the Unyielding Armor class. So, if you have a weapon that is going to be geared towards monster killing like the Thunder Hammer, you'd want to have the Unyielding perk on it. The Plague Ogryn specializes in isolation, singling out a single player with its attention and attacking them with 5 moves: a charge, a ground pound, an uppercut swipe, a stomp, and a 3-hit combo. Let's start with breaking down its charge attack. The Plague Ogryn uses its charge whenever its target is not in range for any of its other attacks. The charge attack tracks players, and the Plague Ogryn will attempt to seek its targets out for a certain duration, after which the charge stops and it will walk towards its target instead. Getting hit by the charge will send you flying, which further messes up your positioning or even sending you off a ledge. The good thing, however, is that the charge can be blocked and will keep you from being tossed away, but it does take a chunk out of your stamina. What's more, the charge also has a cooldown, meaning the Plague Ogryn can't just charge at you every time it has the chance to do so. Once the Plague Ogryn has managed to close the gap between its target, it will now unleash the rest of its attacks. Its most common attack is the ground pound. Lifting up its fist, the Plague Ogryn attempts to smash its target. This attack is very telegraphed and will break your guard if you try to block it, and can even damage you through your block if it breaks. Its Uppercut Swipe, where the Plague Ogryn winds its arm back and swipes at you, is similar to its charge. It can be blocked easily, but getting hit by it will send you flying. Its Stomp is probably the attack that throws most players off when fighting a Plague Ogryn. The main reason being is that the area of the attack is wider than it looks, and its animation plays a little longer than its other attacks. Getting hit by it sends you flying. If you try to absorb the attack with your block, it will break your guard and damage you as well. Most failures I've experienced and seen others succumb to when dealing with a Plague Ogryn often comes down to mistiming or underestimating the Stomp attack, resulting in either taking an unexpected hit that leads to a down, or being sent flying off the map. Its final attack is the 3-hit combo, where the Plague Ogryn moves forward as it swipes at you with its long finger. This attack can deal a lot of damage if you are exposed, but it's also very easy to avoid altogether with dodges and blocking. A final note, getting hit with health damage by a Plague Ogryn's attacks will also apply corruption to your health, reducing the maximum amount of health you can recover, so do your best not to get hit. Now that we understand how a Plague Ogryn fights, we can learn to fight it back. If you ever become the target of affection of a Plague Ogryn, you have one goal: keep it locked in place for as long as you can. You do this by baiting out its attacks, trying to force it to use as many ground pounds and stomps as possible, while dodging in and out of its attack range. I call this the dance. Vermintide veterans will have the dance ingrained into their muscle memory already, as the Plague Ogryn basically shares the same attack patterns as the Rat Ogres. But for you newer players, I'll explain step by step what you need to do to make the Plague Ogryn a minor inconvenience in your missions, rather than an actual threat. Step 1. If you are the target of a Plague Ogryn and it is charging at you, do not run. Eat the charge attack with your block and hold your ground. The only reason why you want to run or move is to either reposition yourself in a better spot closer to your team, or away from other enemies and behind cover from shooters. That's it. Once you've managed to block the charge attack, the dance begins. Step 2. Now that you've got the Plague Ogryn's attention, your job is to first not get hit as much as possible, and then, secondly, keep it in place for as long as you can. To do this, you walk straight up to the Plague Ogryn and get it to try to use either its ground pound, stomp, or uppercut swipe. Once it has telegraphed which attack it will use, dodge backwards to avoid getting hit and walk straight back into its face again to bait out another attack. Repeat this until it loses interest in you. This usually happens because it has sustained a lot of damage from someone else. If it is about to use its uppercut swipe or 3-hit combo, you can either block the attack or sidestep it and return to being in its face again. Repeat as necessary. This is all you need to do to keep a Plague Ogryn in place and stationary for your team to unload range fire or melee attacks of their own. Now, if you're more confident in your ability to dodge the Plague Ogryn's attacks, you can also weave in attacks of your own as you dance with it. With enough practice and confidence, you can solo a Plague Ogryn all by yourself without taking a single hit of damage, even going so far as to bully it pretty hard, as you will see. I have a handful more of tips to offer when dealing with Plague Ogryns. Number 1, mobility matters. Weapons that have increased dodge distances can make the difference between you getting hit by a stomp and being far away enough to avoid it. So, weapons like the combat knife and tactical axes, which have a lot of dodge distance, can easily avoid getting hit in a single dodge compared to heavier weapons like the Thunder Hammer. Number 2, while dodging backwards is how you'd normally dance with the Plague Ogryn, if you really want to keep it locked in place, try dodging sideways instead of backwards. This is especially useful when it unleashes its 3-hit combo and you already have your back to a wall and can't afford to block. For my last tip, I recommend you getting the Creature Spawner mod so you can spawn the Plague Ogryn in your Psychonium to practice against. Installing mods in Darktide is really straightforward and opens up a very consistent method for you to get better at dealing with one of the main monsters in the game. This is something you should definitely check out. With everything you've learned in this video, you are now equipped with the knowledge to take down these big boys with ease. Practice will make perfect, and eventually taking on a Plague Ogryn will be a walk in the park. Of course, fighting in a controlled environment is often easier than in the middle of a hot combat engagement where specials, elites, and a horde all come crashing down on you while trying to distract a Plague Ogryn. But hey, that's the norm in high-intensity Shock Trooper Gauntlet Damnation missions, so if you want to be prepared for the chaos that comes in the higher difficulties and beyond, I suggest practicing your dance moves whenever you can. Just remember to try not fighting Plague Ogryns on bridges, to prevent your less informed teammates from being sent flying off. It happens often enough for me to add it into this video. This next part will be the live mission example that shows you everything I've talked about put into action. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you in the next one. Varlets.
Thing's dead.